form checks, and I'm Mick Solomons, the developer of the Starting Strength app. And with me today, Alex Koseri, Starting Strength coach. G'day, Alex.
How's it going, boys?
Going good. Chase Lindley, how's it going, Chase?
What's up, guys?
And Alex Mitchell from Stronger Now Gym. G'day, Alex.
Howdy.
That's the way. So, let's just rip straight into some form checks, hey?
You know what I realized whenever Mick asks us how we're doing, no one answers him. We just also ask, how's it going?
Yeah,
said,
well,
"How's it going?"
that's
Chase
very
said, "What's
English, right? That's a very English quirk.
We'll
Is
never
that
tell
weird
you.
in the US? Is that weird in the US that like someone says,
No,
how's it going? And
I
you
think it's just weird language-wise, right? Like, it's a weird... How is it going is not the typical greeting, I don't think, for other languages.
In the UK, some people say all right as their greeting. So it's like, all right.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that's even weirder.
Like you've never met the person, they're like, all right.
Oh, no, like you wouldn't say it to someone you don't know.
Say.
All right. All right, all right, all
Like-
right.
Yeah, McConaughey people. I would like that to catch on.
Yeah. Don't do it to high school girls like he was doing.
Oh, God, no.
That doesn't work out well.
No, don't do that. Unless you really want to figure out what prison is like.
All right, Jimmy Pack, what up, boys? Another greeting.
What
And
up, Jimmy?
Jeff
What
Rickens.
up?
Hi, fellas.
Hi,
All
fellas.
right.
Fellas
Hey,
is
hey,
good.
Fellas is good. Depends how you
See, that doesn't require an answer. I like that a lot better. Just hi.
you figure hi doesn't require an answer? Like,
Well,
is that a pal move?
Assert dominance.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't let them get a word in.
Don't-
Hi.
Jay Russo said sup. There's another one.
Sup's
I
good.
think the classic sup is a solid.
Sup is good.
Yep. Oh, we got a question. Gaur Shivam. I don't feel muscles doing exercises even when I do it with correct form. I feel joints. For example, I feel shoulder and elbow joints while bench. Why this is happening?
Yeah, dude.
You
Perception is really wonky, and everyone's going to be pretty different there. There's an argument to be made that like learning how to. Oh, Mick's going to die on camera.
Sorry.
There's an argument to be made that like learning how to feel what muscle is working would be really advantageous at some point in your training, but I don't know if it's at all important for anyone who's not like deep into intermediate probably.
Yeah, it doesn't really work for compounds, I don't think, nor is like entirely relevant.
Yeah.
But like, for example, if you're like fetishizing forearm training or bicep training, so let's just use biceps as an example. And you're like, oh man, I'm doing like 20 sets of biceps a week, and every time you're doing them, all you're feeling is like your forearm and your shoulder. You're likely not getting as much bicep work as you think you are. You know.
Yeah, but
I think
I think
it's helpful for troubleshooting, but that's about it. You know.
yeah, and you've got an emphasis on learning. Like if you're not there, if your just perception is weird that way, or maybe not even weird, but if your perception is isolated to like my elbow is moving, I don't really feel my bicep working, then you can learn how to feel what your bicep feels like, right? It's just going to take time, and you've got to really focus on it and stuff like that.
Also, big preface here: if you have no muscle mass, it doesn't matter. A lot of people are like, I feel my lats
Yeah,
when I'm
dude.
doing chin-ups, and it's like,
Yeah.
you have no lats. You will never.
I can't stress enough,
gain
like
about
you have
40
to
pounds,
get
and then you'll start
Yeah.
finding them.
if you're not deep into intermediate training, it super does not matter. Do not even think about it.
Yep. Jay Russo and Stephen Lewis, or Louis. I don't know which one it is, but they both said hi. So there you go.
Oh, cool.
And Gaur, so this guy, Gaur Shivam, said, I'm a beginner and I'm doing gym for 3 months and not getting results because of this.
Do starting strength. Gore.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're doing the starting strength LP, Gore Shabam.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're not
Are you
doing
even using
LP.
the right technique? Yeah. I mean, you may say
Yeah.
that you're using proper technique, but that could be you doing some goofy ass shit. You know, send us
Hire a
form review
coach.
and we'll break this shit down.
Yep.
Yep.
All right, let's rip into some videos. We have Ben Star 587.
While we're watching this, Chase, I had a question for you. What's the average quality of lifter who comes in and is like, you know what, I'm pretty good at the lifts. Do you think that's getting more accurate or less accurate? Like if someone comes in and they think they're okay with technique. Because they're already coming to a franchise.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, they have over time a better understanding, but it kind of just depends. Some people feel like they're doing it really well, but then they're messing up on the small minutia that we're kind of slowly ironing out. But then we have people who come in and they don't know their ass from their heels, so we have to just really work on it, and it takes them a long time to get that that body coordination and stuff.
Yeah, I think the thing that makes me happy is like the average quality of lifter, even from like videos like this, has definitely improved a lot. Like I remember when I first started lifting, like the random gym guy looked totally different than they do now. So
I can only assume that is so nice to deal with because the average quality of lifter I get is not. That's not my experience.
It's like you just kick the walking frame out of their hands.
Alex lives
Because-
in a different world.
Well, because most of my clients, only if they ever lifted, they lifted in the 80s, so I'm just getting 80s flashbacks, but 20 years recessed.
You should put some like weight plates on their walking frames just to ease them into it.
Dude,
Like a yoke?
that's
It's a good idea.
Meta,
It's like a little prowler.
Granny's Prowler. Oh, yeah, I'm in.
What do we think about these squats, boys?
I would bring the heels, or bring the feet, the stance in just a titch, point the toes out a little more. Let's see here. Yeah, bring the stance in just a titch, maybe point the toes out a little more, and then really focus on getting your knees out. I think that'll fix a lot of it. The other thing, though, is like when you're setting up under the bar, I've said it like 10,000 times, so maybe just watch any of the other Q&As we've done, but you need to really pin yourself between the floor and the bar and squeeze your shoulder blades in and snuggle that bar in between them rather than just kind of like lifting it out on your back.
Yep. Anything else to add, fellas?
No, I
kind
think
of a
stance
good-
should fix most of this. Yeah.
Yeah, most of it.
This
Stance
is a
and unrack.
cool YMCA too. I'm surprised that a YMCA is
Dude, that platform is
full
what?
platform with
like,
the Y.
nice.
It's like 10 feet long? Holy shit. I don't know whether I'm impressed or I'm kind of appalled that they're wasting so much space. Like, it's like 8 feet out and 5 feet in or something. It's enormous.
Do you think the Village People song ruined YMCA's for everyone? Is that we getting into?
No. I think there's still
I think
I know
so.
they still do like income subsidized membership for people local to the area. So I think they're
They do.
they're fighting a good fight in terms of trying to make everybody not as obese as they are now.
True.
Yeah, dude. It's if you had a choice between an LA Fitness and a Y,
Oh yeah.
go to the Y. Go to the Y.
Yep. So Gore Shivam has said in reply to all of that, I'm going to the gym after 5 minutes. I'm going to replace barbell squat with goblet squat so that if form is wrong, then I can correct it.
Perfect. Go ahead.
Dude, go for it, man.
That's the best answer. That's a perfect answer.
I'm so glad you're happy.
You do you.
That's wonderful.
Yep.
You do you, man.
All right,
That's fun.
let's keep going. We've got Clee. Now,
Oh,
I
highway
like how we
patrol.
all went there.
yeah, I was looking, going, what kind of gym is this? And it's like, okay, this is a cop station.
I like how there's an up arrow on the pull-up bar, so you know where to go.
As opposed to, well,
like,
the
I can't
down
figure out
arrow
which
is
way
for
I'm
the
supposed to
advanced
pull.
only. It becomes a lat pull down if you're strong enough.
Ooh. I've seen a few of those videos online. They're always pretty funny.
I bet.
What's this guy's name again, Mick? I
Clay.
have like fucking Clay.
Clay.
I like to see the bar a little bit lower if you can. It's probably your shoulder mobility shit. And also, I personally hate seeing people lift in hoodies because it always bunches up and it feels like the bar position is a lot higher than what it needs to be. Take it off. I don't know if it's, hell, it's spring here in the northern hemisphere, so I'm sure you're fine with being a little bit cold and eventually it'll warm up. See if you can't put the bar a little bit lower. If not, you're going to high bar and you're going to keep your chest up and bend your knees a little bit sooner. So your hips and knees have to bend at the same time and just go straight down. Put your ass in between your heels. But I like on the ascent, you're driving your hips well enough.
spot on. I think the hooks are one too high. I think I would lower the hooks one.
Yeah, he's definitely tiptoeing it out.
Yeah.
I'm very interested to see your deadlift. So we may have that queued up. I'm not sure, but if you send in your deadlift, that'll be interesting because it's like back extension is a big culprit here, I think, as well. So it's pretty rare to see someone like nailing back extension on the deadlift and kind of squatting like a wet noodle. So
Wet noodle. All right, thanks, Clee. Let's keep it rolling. We have got El Noir's husband, Mr. Noir.
finally,
Yes.
This was one of the ones I was talking about earlier.
I'm gonna be honest. I didn't expect him to look like this. I don't know
Me
what
too.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's
Exactly.
That's the biggest
I
takeaway
said
from
this is
video.
going to be bad.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't bad.
Maybe I was hoping he just looked just like Chase. Like, wait a second,
Oh, he kind of looks like
I've seen that guy before.
a more barbell-oriented, Wayne's World.
Yes. I don't even think you have to say barbell oriented. You just
Yeah.
take Wayne's World,
It's just-
put a barbell in his hand, done.
Do you think he's going to say
Beneath.
party time? Oh no, wait, that's Bill and Ted. What do Wayne's World say?
No. It's party time.
Party
Excellent.
time. Excellent. Yeah, it is too. Man, if you said that in the video, I would have lost my shit.
Whoa, wait. Look at this setup they've got. They're on a mat on plywood with the Titan Fitness. Ah, respect,
Yeah.
dude.
It's smart. It's a smart setup.
Respect.
I like
As
to
for
see
the
a little
actual
bit more-
deadlift,
Yeah. I like to see
Yeah,
a little bit more
right.
feet with this. Push harder with the feet and try not to just pull it up all the way with your back.
Yeah.
And then don't
And
shrug
also-
at the top. Stick out the chest, kind of like your Superman.
Exactly. And pursuant to that, I would worry less about your lats. Don't think about like tightening your lats as much as I really want you at the bottom to pull your chest out. I want to rotate your rib cage, which you've got demonstrated on your shirt. Rotate it up toward the wall in front of you and like push your sternum up as you're setting up on the bar.
Mick, anything to add?
I was
Is this stance a little-
expecting when Elle said here's a video of my husband, I was expecting a nerd. That's what I was expecting. He may be a nerd, but he doesn't.
You got it.
Yeah.
Is
You reckon?
his stance? He's definitely a nerd. Are you kidding me?
You're
Is
right.
Oh, I
his
reckon,
stance
buddy.
a little wide?
I think people tend to go wider when shoeless rather than shoed. I will note
Yep.
that
Mhm.
just kind of as a general trend. I don't mind this because his arms look more or less vertical. I don't really
Yeah.
care about that. Extra 2 degrees. The only thing I would add here is stop doing weird stuff with your face at the top. You're gonna feel the face that you're wearing. So like keep a poker face on. You don't need to like tuck your chin back and kind of let a little bit of air out. So
Yep.
I had a guy, an online client, who no shit would stick his tongue out through the deadlift
Ooh.
every single time.
Who's
That's
that
nasty.
one jackass powerlifter who's like the really strong vegan dude who just does nothing but pull? Fuck, I forgot his name. Do y'all know who I'm talking
you
about?
like the Turkish guy?
No, he's not. He's an American. I forgot his name.
Yeah, he's
Anyways,
I
vegan.
have no
He's
idea.
not Turkish.
No.
You don't get away with that in
All he
Turkey.
does is just. Yeah, he.
Other
he's like
cultures
a
don't do
800-pound
that.
puller.
No,
You
they don't
know,
ex-
that's not a thing.
I don't accept that kind of behavior.
Except like Jainists.
Who?
Janus. Anyway, doesn't matter.
Okay.
They're kind of
Yeah.
like Buddhists, but
Anyway,
more.
sorry, Chase. Keep going. What were you?
Nah, he's just like I forgot his name, but he's like 220 and he's pulling in the 800s or so, and he has like the fucking worst kyphosis ever on a person. And he just pulls
He
that
is
thing out
actually the Hunchback of Notre Dame.
there. Oh, he has a bad kyphosis.
MJDC said, "Are you talking about Clarence Kennedy, who is Irish?"
No,
No, definitely
Clarence
not
is-
my boy Clarence.
No, Clarence actually has proper back extension and stuff.
Yeah, no one may besmirch his good name.
Yeah.
All right. We have Feeble Streng, which I assume is Feeble Strength. He's supposed to be his username. It's not a great start.
Okay, I'm gonna let you take that one.
Is that?
Just because Kay seems to really like saying extension.
I love extension. I try to live my life
Yeah,
as
dude.
fully extended as possible at all times.
Yeah, dude.
I would move the safeties down. You kind of clanked on them on one, so make that kind of your first step in the setup. And I would recommend turning your hooks around so you're not facing the mirror. The mirror is kind of really playing with you. We can take this one from CrossFit, but what you want to think about is, everything from like your skull all the way down to your tailbone. Think about creating one rigid unit with it that doesn't have any play. The movement in the squat comes from your waist and your hips and your knees. So it's not like you should be kind of reaching or searching for a solution with your back and rounding it down as it goes on. So I would really go over the starting strength. Either, if you have the book, go for the book. The app has the sections of the book in it or the videos. And then just start watching more squats. You'll note that everyone tries to keep their back is about as straight as they can, and then they drop their butt down independently. So the back stays as a rigid unit. The movement comes from the rest. There's not too much to work on here because you're just very, very loose. Outside of that, I think the bar is a little bit too wide, or actually not the bar's too wide, but the bar is a little bit too low on your back, which could be a contributing factor to the back extension. But with this, I would say, try to figure out back extension on the deadlift and see if you can get it to carry over here.
Yeah. You never really established the extension in the first place, so that would be the first step for me.
Yep. All right. Thanks, Feeble String. Luke Plunkett.
Oh, this was the tricky one.
Is he deadlifting or power cleaning?
Well, exactly. It's tricky.
Pen lane row.
Oh.
Bah! Yeah.
Nice.
You didn't know it was in a superposition until just then.
All right. You got this one, Chase.
So you're dropping your hips a little bit too low at the setup. Do not, just like the deadlift on the setup, do not roll the bar. Bring your shins to the bar, and once you feel your shins touch, ass freezes. At the top, I want to see more jump, right? You're kind of just half-assing it. Jump through your toes and literally hit one of the beams on your garage there. And then as you're jumping and you're in the jump position, you are forcefully pushing the bar down and almost thinking about raising up your shoulders as you're doing it. So that way you kind of like elongate yourself like you're made of taffy. If that makes sense.
What's taffy?
I don't know
What?
what the hell taffy
What?
is.
What's taffy?
Like Laffy Taffy.
Do they not have that in Australia?
That doesn't make it any more
Man.
clear to me. Laffy
Just
taffy. It just sounds like you're making up words.
One of the many things that they banned in Australia. First taffy,
Yeah,
that was
probably.
the
First
through
guns,
line
then
into
taffy.
guns.
So it's
Yep.
kind of like gum, Mick, but like you can actually eat it.
Yeah,
Ah,
yeah.
okay. All right.
Yeah, so I mean, I think that a lot of people pick up that little hip pop at the bottom, right before they jump or right before they start the pull on the clean, because they see the Olympic lifters do that in the Olympics or maybe at the gym or whatever, and that's all cool if you're cleaning 400 pounds, but you're not. So
Yep. Got a question. Pavestone Wasp. I get a lot of feedback that my upper back rounds at the bottom of my squat. Any tips for maintaining that tightness?
you got to get it at the start. Like if it's fallen down through the set and you have a chance of maintaining it and it's not just like some kind of shoulder mobility thing, you've really got to establish that at the very beginning by squeezing your chest out before you actually receive the bar. So you do squeeze those shoulder blades in, and then you place the bar on top of that orientation of your upper back, and then you just have to work to maintain it. But whereas if you just like soft into the bar and then put the bar on that soft surface and then try to regain it, it's going to fall apart.
I want to know who's giving this guy this feedback, personally. And I want to see a video. Pavestone Wasp.
Well, that's true too.
I think the nuance here is like you may just be letting it round, so the feedback is correct. It's like you may know how to do it, and if you feel like it's rounding, you can probably straighten it, but you may just be forgetting because there's a lot going on at the bottom of the squat. You got a bar on you, you're now in a sitting position, it's crazy. So like if it's a thing where you were just unable to mentally keep it there because of, focusing on the weight of the bar or focusing on your hip drive. It may just be kind of a mental focus thing. I know for a lot of people, they will get way too in their hips with their brain, or they'll think way too much about knee position or hips or whatever, and they'll just forget about it. You have to be good enough so that your upper back is like concretized, completely immobile, completely rigid, and then you can think about the other things. It's just like it may take a long time for you to have that ability, because like mature squatters, like I almost guarantee you Chase doesn't have to think about dramatic upper back rounding in the squat because it is an automated process at this point. For a lot of lifters, it is just like, oh, I just know how to do that. It's just like a switch. It's just like taking your stance almost. It's a choice that you're making, and then you don't have to babysit it after that point. You may just not be at that technical point yet where you still have to focus on it.
Yeah, we had a video on this actual topic, I think probably 5 days ago. So, yeah, check that out as well.
And Bill Hannon wrote a really awesome article on it that's very old now, but I think still very relevant.
Okay.
It should be on the Starting Strength website.
There you go, Pavestone Wasp. Let's roll on with some videos. Mick John 46. This is Latin Strength. Remember this guy.
Yeah, dude, we all know him.
Chase, while this is playing, for you and the other advanced lifters that you work with, how automated is that upper back position in your squat? Like, is it second nature at this point, or are you still thinking about it?
Yeah, it's funny that you said that because as you mentioned that, I was thinking, man, like I don't even have to worry about if I'm shoving out my chest or what Alex was cueing him to kind of flatten the shoulder blades. I just get into position, and then I do think about more so as the weight gets heavy that I'm making sure that I'm kind of pushing up against the bar and bracing that way instead of just setting the back and hunkering down in that manner. But it's more so if I'm doing more reps and I'm getting more tired, then I'll think about it. Like if I'm doing like a sets of 8 or so, I have to make sure that I'm coming up not only with my hips but with my chest and hips.
I think that is such an important thing that I don't think we've talked about a lot as a community, but I talk to my lifters about all the time, is that you have to think harder about a thing as the set goes on. Like at first on the deadlift, if you've been doing it for a while, the setting the back isn't hard. But on that 5th rep of a true, honest to God 5 rep max, you have to think about nothing else other than setting your back.
So think more.
Yeah, dude, think harder.
We didn't even break down the studio. Oh, I was about to say.
No. Well, I thought we were
about to say, screw him.
I thought we were about to rip into like 10 minutes of think more, and
Sorry.
then we'll
No, that's all I had.
Yeah, right.
So I'm interested to hear what you guys have to say about this stuff.
Who took the last one? Whose turn is it?
I think Chase took the last one, so do you want to go,
I
Alex?
had the power clean guy.
Okay, yeah, lowest power. Man, it feels like so long ago. I think if I remember correctly, this guy started way too wide and then went too narrow, and we've still been troubleshooting the stance. I still think this is too narrow. You're kind of getting right to depth, but you are having to round your back more than I think is comfortable to get there. I would definitely pull a plate off of this bar and then focus on back extension for a while. Like if you just pay attention to the yellow of your shirt in contrast with the rest of the environment, you're going to see it bending almost the entire time. Like we talked about before 2-3 videos ago with that feeble strength guy, the goal for this, it's a leg exercise. It's not a Jefferson curl. We're not trying to get you to round and then unround your back repeatedly under load. You want to keep that as rigid as possible. So what you want to think about is, forcing your sternum up into a high position, keeping it there, and then sitting down. Like you're driving your hips up, the pacing is fine. I think a wider stance just by a little bit would help. But you got to sort out the back extension.
Yeah, dude, preach it. Big piece of that is take a plate off and work on back extension. I always get dubious when I see people squatting 315 sloppily. I'm always the first question I'm going to ask is, are you just trying to squat 315? Are you just overreaching in that way? Or is that really where you ended up at LP, given, bar path, bar speed, all that kind of thing? And with this, I would say you need to work on the form. You need to work on the technique at a weight that you can move around a little easier before you hit something like this, where the RPE is really really high, and it's pushing you out, and you're really not able to focus on those things.
The famous Valley of the Lost, weights in between 275 to 315, and then weights in between 365 and 405. They don't exist.
I do not use the 40-pound plates if I can help it, or 45-pound plates if I can help it. I always work I like double stack 10s and CrossFit load as much as I can, because I got the plates for it, and it's usually private sessions, and it gets people out of that mentality. They just never get into it.
That's interesting. Okay, Latin strength. Thanks for the video. Up next we have Milan Chicks with a Z.
We're getting a lot of this one today. Did you sort these videos specifically for this?
Yeah, that's all.
Yeah, dude.
Man.
That's exactly what I did, Alex. You know how much time I spent on this.
10 hours a day,
Yeah,
constantly.
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. I
this
want to
one's a
see you
little
get your knees. Go ahead.
As I was gonna say, the back extension, I think is gonna be a little bit more easier fix. You're kind of initiating the leaning over by putting the head forward instead of just dropping your stomach in between your legs. And then, as Alex Mitchell was gonna say, just get the knees into position.
Yep. Don't change your eye gaze through. I know Rip goes into the bend over, lean over, all this kind of shit. And it doesn't mean that you change your eye gaze or anything like that. You know, your eye gaze is probably just right as you're starting out. And then notice how your head, tilts over like one of those little birds that used to be in the water glass or whatever. And that's not quite it, right? You want to, as Chase said, you want to drop your belly in between your thighs. That's going to be a lot better for you. Keep your back rigid.
Yep. And go help out that girl on the leg press behind you next time as well. I think she seems like she needs some feedback in a spot.
Yeah,
or something.
there's something going on.
Yeah. Just stand over her and just give her some nice advice.
Yeah, dude.
All right.
That's what we want to encourage.
That's what we want, exactly, yes. All right, thanks, Milan Chicks. We've got MJDC, friend of the show.
Oh, good. This is the one.
I was going to say he looked really different, if that was him.
It took me the longest time to realize that it wasn't the dude doing lunges. And
I was
MJDC.
Man, you got a tan.
Yeah, dude. And I feel like the guy doing lunges really does need our help. There's a lot going, and he's got a coach.
Oh, he's lunging 135. He's ready. He's ready for the track.
Oh, it's good. He's lunging 135 in Air Jordans, dude. That's even,
what else are you going to lunge 135 in?
You got a good point, actually. You got a really good point.
Oh
man.
Yeah, dude.
The first one seemed not bad at all, and then you just got more and more forward as you went. I'd like to see you. I mean, I'm sure Alex is gonna say this too. Your low bar and your high bar are gonna be exactly the same. You're not even gonna worry about leaning over at all. Just let it happen naturally, and I'm gonna be more focused on setting the knees. And the knees are kind of the anchor in this standpoint. Once you anchor the knees in position, your back angle is gonna solve itself, and you're just gonna have to now balance it over the arch of the foot or the midfoot, because you progressively get more and more leaned over as you descend.
Yep.
I like seeing some failure sets too. They're valuable information for us. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had some online clients where initially they'll be like, oh, I failed, so I didn't send that one over. It's not worth the feedback. And it's like, no, that's the one that's worth the feedback.
Yeah, dude.
It's almost exactly the opposite. But yeah, also, no, Chase hit the spot on. Be very glad that you can high bar your low bar. It gets really comfy whenever you're used to it.
Yep. And also, I would say you're kind of getting your low back at the expense of your abdomen, of your anterior abdomen. So you need to get both, right? It can't just be that you set your low back really, really, really tight in extension, and your abs are just all out there, all fuzzy. You've got to brace the abs really hard, brace the trunk really hard, and set the low back in neutral extension, not hyperextension.
Can you make that noise again, Alex? I think I heard that on Mortal Kombat. That was pretty good.
Just a crunch.
Yeah, dude, rip the spine right out and show them where extension is.
I think that's Alex's body's just slowly degrading and just falling apart over time.
Yep, that's exactly right.
He's getting noceboed from hanging out with 80-year-olds all the time.
Exactly, dude.
That's why we need to bring in our placenta powder.
The
from North
secret
Korea.
is you've just got to do nothing but what Kay teaches with bodybuilding shit. That's the way you stay young. Is
got
just
there.
Yeah.
nothing
You go to your
but
doctor
bicep
and you're like,
curls.
listen, doc, I want some special sports supplements. And he'll be like, all right, I'll hook you up.
Yep.
Speaking of that, Stephen Louis has a question. If you take, I don't even know how to pronounce this, NSAIDs, I don't know, NSAIDs for 3,200 milligrams for 5 days, as Rip has recommended on the forum, do you know how long you should wait before you start again?
Wait, but what's the problem?
3,200
milligrams of say ibuprofen or whatever, some NSAID,
Yep.
naproxen, for
Alex is about to
5
die.
days.
What's going on?
First off, Mark Ripito is not a doctor. Please consult your doctor before taking any medication. Please.
Except
Just-
steroids. Don't tell them about that.
except steroids. Unless you're old, and then your doctor will give you steroids. So do that, okay? With all that said, what are you trying to fix? That's another really key point in this. I assume it's epicondylitis, do you think?
I don't know, but I mean, I remember him saying something about like, you need a bunch of NSAIDs to kind of help flush out whatever kind of pain you're having with, or inflammation rather, you're having with either tendonitis, arthritis, something of that sort of, that tendinopathy and stuff like that. I don't know about the dosage. I mean, it kind of depends on
dude.
your
Again,
body weight
this is
and
what
all that
doctors
stuff.
are really good at. Like, if you go to a doctor and you say, "Hey, I have back pain," they're gonna give you diclofenac and they're gonna give you a muscle relaxer. So, like, really do this isn't like your diabetes type 2 heart disease kind of shit where you might need to take less allopathic measures. This is like what they're good at. So go to your doctor.
Mm-hmm. As some short notes, that's a high amount of dosing if you have done this before, because you're saying, how long should I wait before I do it again? Which means you probably already did it once. Check for GI distress. Large amounts of NSAIDs, particularly in that dosing and quantity, can cause gastrointestinal bleeding. That is something to be taken seriously. If you have like a history of ulcers, or you're kind of in that age where people are getting colonoscopies and you have polyps or any sort of risk of that, no bueno unless you deem the risk profile to be worth it. I would probably wager that whatever tendinopathy you're dealing with now could likely be changed with some form adjustments and some programming wizardry rather than taking a bunch of pills for it. If it's something, I've had a lot of athletes do this who are like in combat sports, and they'll be like, I took a hard side kick to the knee. I'm gonna ice and take a bunch of NSAIDs for the week, and it's like totally cool. But it's like if you're working with a golfer and he's like, my ankles hurt, I'm like, no, you'll be okay. So contextualize it and then see where all of this fits within the context of your programming and your form. You can never divorce the two. No matter how much you say that form doesn't fucking matter, they will always be together. So you have to think about both of them.
Yeah. He said he doesn't take that in one sitting, and he uses Advil, ibuprofen, but he's not glued to a brand. Just curious how long it takes for your stomach to heal.
Individual,
not
not
doing it
worth
all
finding out.
You do
Yeah,
not
don't-
want to.
don't take
Yeah,
it, yeah.
dude, no, you don't understand. That's not where you want to get. That has killed people. All right, that has absolutely killed people. You don't want to get there at all.
Ben Lacasse said, That's only 4 800 milligram Motrins. We pop those like candy in the infantry.
Well, yeah, because the infantry is just so healthy for you. That's the paragon of health. That's the ideal we should all be looking up to.
Yeah, I think chronic use is a lot different. I mean, like, in reality, 5 days is an organism of, high dosing of most things. Probably not really going to impact anything, significant. But if you're attempting to make this, like, a behavioral pattern that you're relying on, like, if you're like, okay, well, I ramp my volumes up across every month, and then during, like, a deload week, I decide to, slam myself ibuprofen. A year of that, you don't know what you're going to do, So,
yeah, and
use that sparingly if you're going to use it.
And what Kay said is really important, which is like what you're doing is you're using it as a quick fix instead of making the adjustments that you need to make for long-term success in your programming. Like if you're using NSAIDs to cover up some epicondylitis, that epicondylitis is there for a reason. You need to address it with either changes in loading or changes in technique. And then it will get better by itself. Maybe then there is an argument to be made that you can, dose with NSAIDs to help it calm down. But until you actually make those adjustments, you shouldn't be relying on that, right? That is the very first step that you need to take.
He's saying for the inflammation.
Well, yes.
Where and
That's
how do you
what
know
they're
it's inflammation
for.
that's the problem.
Right.
This will take an hour, but
Yeah. I just want to add this. I want to add this last comment from our drug lord friend Tejo, who said,
He's got your drugs.
Yeah, in Mexico, he'll ship them over the border to you. Take omeprazole. I don't even know how to pronounce that. So you don't have to worry about your intestines.
Omeprazole is a proton pump inhibitor, which you can use it for like antacids. It doesn't function like a Tums would in the case where it literally neutralizes the pH in your stomach, but it functionally shuts off some of the ability for your stomach to produce acids and other secretions which are useful for digestion. It's not great for anyone looking to receive a lot of nutrient value out of their food, but it is good for like, oh hey, let's say you have like ulcers and this is something that you want to work out. Like if you already have an existing history of stomach ulcers, they're probably going to push you on that. Or if you're showing signs of like I may have ulcerative colitis or something like that, they may give you omeprazole, but not. Don't take advice from our resident pharmacologist Tejo or me. Ask a doctor.
Tejo did say, just kidding, ask a doctor.
Please.
So just
just
to clarify.
and just to scare the living daylights out of you, for instance, PPIs have been connected to Alzheimer's disease. So ask your doctor. There is everything that is useful in context.
Yep. Stop Lego Lord said, are you going to do an ice stream challenge when you get to 1K subscribers? I don't even know what that is.
What challenge?
Ice stream.
We see who can pee for the longer.
Is that where we stay in like a cold bath or something like that?
Oh, I used to do that shit. I highly recommend that stuff, actually. It makes you feel real good.
Except when you're in the ice.
Well, like, don't really
getting out of the ice, you go, I feel great now.
No, well, yeah, actually, so that getting in is the only problem. Like, getting in is hard. Staying there is fine after your first, five bouts. And getting out is awesome because everything feels so warm and hot and all that. I really do highly recommend it. It makes you feel nice and warm and fuzzy, and it's a lot cheaper than a massage.
I remember Rip telling me a story about when he visited the Chinese weightlifting team and they were telling him about how their weightlifters ice their testicles. Yeah, ice their testicles after every session. And he's like, all right. He goes, I think they're all full of shit. They're just like let's just see what these dumb Americans are willing to do.
Icing their dude, just jump in an ice bath. You got the testicles there with it.
True. Yeah. All right, let's roll on.
I was just imagining someone completely submerged in an ice bath, but with like a little buoy attached to their junk. It's just above the surface.
It is the worst part about getting in.
Splayed out.
Is you do sit up there with like a half squat, just like hovering right above the water.
Shrinkage is just.
I think
it's rough.
I don't want to speak for Chase, but I'm probably in the Chase camp of like this sounds terrible.
I'm telling you, you got to try it for 10 days, and it feels real good. It definitely feels real good.
Okay. Righto. R. Durban. Has this guy got one of those pair of glasses with one of the fake moustaches on it?
That's amazing.
I wanted to say he looks like he lives right by, like, you know, where around Christmas time people like set up those areas where you can buy like Christmas trees like on the side of the road.
Oh yeah, dude, it does look like
growing
a
that.
Christmas tree farm right there. Yep.
Uh,
Maybe that's his business. You don't know. Ooh.
Seems like
Whoa.
awfully quiet.
Okay, we're getting real close to the back there, buddy.
blew me out of the water. Was not expecting this at all.
Not at
I
all.
was
Yeah.
expecting a rough quarter squat.
Yep. Is there a second?
I think so. Yeah.
Is it
This,
still-
this
Oh
video
wow!
goes for a long.
Oh man!
This video goes for a long time.
Yeah.
Dude, RR, you gotta speed this shit up.
Yeah, dude. Chop.
Are you
chop.
talking to me or
We're
this
burning
guy?
daylight. How long are your workouts, dude? Oh my god.
So
Yeah,
this
look, man,
guy's
it's a-
probably like your.
Sorry.
He's probably like the typical like I have to go through every single form checklist in my brain type of dude.
Yep.
Don't.
Mhm.
You're gonna. You can handle this whenever it's, you know, it's light like this, but as soon as it gets heavy, you're not gonna be able to do this extensive checklist. Bring into the set 2 cues, right? So for you, it's going to be ass straight down and depth. That's all you need to really work on.
Yep. Really, you could combine that into one. You just drop your ass as low as it'll go, you know. Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. You know, you got the bar pretty high. I imagine that's shoulder flexibility. We've talked a whole lot about that, so I won't burn that topic again. But listen to past episodes, and Mick, I think, singled it out. But you could do something for that and maybe get the bar lower. But also, dude, take one step back. Just clear the hooks. That's all you got to do. You're getting in to the point where you might even be bumping up against the back of the rack, and that's just too much.
Yep. Radio RR Durban. I think we've got 2 more videos. Yeah, we do. SSJ3 Isaac.
Super Saiyan 3.
I was thinking the same thing.
He doesn't have nearly as much hair. Not nearly enough hair.
Chase, when are you going to grow the hair out so that you can gel that shit up?
Yeah, dude.
No,
Get
I
a
look
good
like
Goku look going on.
it's funny. My boss here in Houston's like, "Have you ever played Street Fighter?" I was like, "I kind of like hardly a few times." He's
I
like,
think
"You
I
look
know
like
where
Guile."
this is going.
I was like,
Yes!
Guile. And he sent on the story on the gym page, me and Guile like right next to each other. I was like, "Oh, fuck, I really do look like him."
Yes! I was just about to say, that's awesome. Did we get
This
2
looks like
reps
someone
here?
who learned to squat in a suit. On the west side.
That
He's
is
trying to
so
replicate
true.
it.
I feel like this guy might be the guy that's trying to hunt down Tejo and like arrest him and bring extradite him back to the United States.
Yeah.
It's like Sicario.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
No, this is a 100% canvas suit squat, dude. This is full sit back.
He's
I
got-
think.
yeah.
Well, I don't know, dude. I get a lot of these where like they say, "Hey, I've been on starting strength for like 3 months. I've read everything that Ripito does," and they come in for a form check, and then this because they hear butt back.
No, it's dynamic effort day. These are for wide stance, knees out box squats.
Dude. Except no box because Insanity Wolf. Yeah, dude.
Yeah, so when you're
probably
just as a general point
go
for
for it.
everyone, when you're re-racking, even in this type of floating stand, hit the thing, right? You're never going to be able to hit it with enough momentum that you clear the thing over. So even if it tilts a little bit, let it ride back to neutral and then sit it down. Never search for the hooks on one side, because if we add 50 pounds to this, you're not going to be able to get the other side back in.
Yep. and it's a straight bar. So if you look to one side, automatically the other side is going to drop below the height of the hook. You just look straight ahead, you walk straight forward, and as long as you've got the height set correctly and you're not tiptoeing it out, you will hit that upper upright. Also, don't do a box squat. Get your stance in a little bit. Shove your knees out like 3 times as far as they're going right now. Just focus probably exclusively on shoving your knees forward. You do not need to worry about pushing your hips back. Drop your butt straight down, push your knees real forward, real early, and that'll clear up a little bit of this.
Yep. All right. What was that guy's name? Isaac. All right. Oh, I think Isaac's in the chat. Isaac said, I absolutely love how Mick pronounces Isaac. Makes it sound so exotic. How else do you pronounce it? Is there...
I think...
Isaac.
Yeah,
like a
Isaac.
normal
Isaac.
person.
Otherwise, it sounds like Apple's newest product.
There's 2 A's in that.
Only
How
for
do you
men.
get Isaac with a word with 2 A's in it?
Stay
Well,
on your island,
so-
Vic.
I'm sorry.
Stay in your lane.
How do you say? So how do you say Aaron? So Aaron spelled A Ron essentially. So how do you say
Aaron.
Aaron?
Aaron.
Yeah, you're fucked up.
Got a
man.
point.
Yeah,
Isaac.
No,
Aaron.
no.
That's all. That makes perfect sense.
Aaron.
Got a
Aaron.
point.
Aaron.
Aaron.
Okay.
Aaron.
So we're spelling things. Do you say two? Do you say listin? Do you whistle when you're
Yeah,
walking
well,
down
we're not
the road?
talking about T's. We're talking about double A's at the moment. Well, T's, that's a whole nother subject.
Yeah, but spelling is so antiquated. We're not pronouncing things like that anymore. Do you throw something? Do you go throw?
I'm just saying double A is double A. That's not I. So anyway. Tim Polland. I have some pain on the length of the outside of my right thigh. It goes away while squatting, but I do feel pain outside of the gym. I'm worried it might be my IT band. Any thoughts? I'm new to squatting.
Do you run?
Start running.
Run
Kill
more.
you, Brandon.
Don't start running.
Barefooted.
But 9 times out of 10, if I get someone with IT band stuff, it's because they just started a new fitness routine, and it involves squatting and then running a lot. And that IT band just gets really, really ticked off, especially if you do like trail running and stuff like that.
Full squats are a really good deep stretch. They're great for mobility.
Yep.
Really, really are.
Yep.
Keep squatting. If you're new to it, the problem should sort itself out in a few months. They almost ubiquitously do. Someone will come in with being like, oh, something's wrong with me. I'm like, probably not. You know.
Yep. As long as it
If
doesn't
anything-
progressively get worse, you're in the clear. Like, what you want to worry about is if it progressively gets worse over time.
Yeah, and if anything, like an IT band isn't gonna hurt. I mean, it's not gonna, fuck you up or anything like that. Along with helping your form and stuff like that, kind of help it feel a little bit better faster. Just get a release. It sucks ass, but it's gonna feel better afterwards.
Yep. He
Yeah,
says he
squats
doesn't.
are not. Go ahead.
Oh, he said
run.
he doesn't really run, but he bicycles occasionally, but not as of late.
Yeah, I mean, I've never noticed squats to cause like actual IT band problems. The kind of
So
thing that is chronic.
how many miles is he riding, Meg? Does he know?
Is he riding? He said
Say.
he said he doesn't. He hasn't been riding as of late.
Listen, man, so let's say if you were riding a lot, you were relatively adapted to an activity with a pretty short range of motion through both hip flexion and knee flexion that had a very specific demand for your IT. And then now you've decided to do something is going to have more load and more range of motion, and you're doing it more frequently. Plus, you've added in different exercises as well. It very may well be like the deadlift causing some amount of irritation, but I don't think it's worth hunting down a source. Like Mitchell was alluding to, if you're noticing it's amplifying session over session or amplifying rep over rep, maybe it's time for an intervention like changing the range of motion. Stance could be wonky, making sure that your form is there. But if it's just I would generally consider something like this in the growing pains of I just started doing an activity. It's not going to feel great.
Yep. And in general, like if it is something that is progressively getting worse, it's in the context of loading, right? So something needs to be addressed either in your programming or your technique, like we've said 1,000 times in this podcast. So you're either overreaching or you need to hire a coach because your technique is doing something funky with that tissue.
Yeah. Cool. Thanks for the question, Tim. Last video of the day, Sully Kid.
This
Is
person
it
could either
actually
be
Sully's
19
kid?
or 60 years old.
Yep.
I have no idea how old this human is.
I'm just gonna give him
Yeah,
the
that's
benefit
nice.
of the doubt, and he's doing some really shitty stiff leg deadlifts.
I thought the same thing. I was gonna say the same thing. Yeah, dude. You're emphasizing the you don't push your butt down a little too much. You're starting with the bar too far back, and your shin angle is.
He looks like he's just
vertical.
done his back there as well.
Oh yeah, dude.
Okay, so
Yeah,
hold
dude.
on.
Oh no.
Evidence on both sides. Gray pants, t-shirt tucked into them, and he was panting
Okay.
at the end of the set. That's good evidence that he's like 60. But if you
I'm
look
gonna
at the
go
side of
for
his
60.
face, he could be
Yeah.
quite
Yes.
young.
He's probably
Maybe
a
he just
solid
took-
32.
Look at his
Okay,
face
you
is.
think-
Oh my god. And he's white, so it's not like one of those like so,
Like
some
his
nationalities.
hands
like
aren't
Latinos
that
don't.
wrinkly. Like he doesn't have old man hands.
Please let us know how old you are.
Dude, he's gonna say he's Benjamin Button, and he's actually like 68.
Maybe he's a 7-year-old who's just constantly moisturized. Yeah, I like the
Whatever
stiff
you're
legged
doing.
deadlift is a light fatigue variation
Oh,
for
for sure.
more advanced lifters. Especially like milking the eccentric like this, I think it can provide a ton of value to the primary pull. Especially if you have someone who's like super reliant on pushing the floor away or getting the hips lower and trying to drive with the quads. Love the SLDL. My favorite cue for it is just try to make the plates make virtually no sound when it hits the ground. That really helps people control the eccentric. But just do the deadlift part, not the stiff-legged deadlift part.
Yep. You should be getting a little more from your quads, dude.
All right. Thanks for that video, Sully Kid. Well, there you go, Sully Kid. That's his name. So he might be 15.
I know a bunch of old Sullys.
I was about to say maybe he's Sully's kid.
Yeah, maybe he is. Yeah. All right. Well, anyway, that's the last video. Anything else you guys wanted to chat about, promote, argue about?
No, Nick, who's that creepy person right behind you, though?
Hey.
I just wanted to scare you.
Yeah.
Ah.
I mean, I live.
Standing
pretty
behind
good.
you.
I live a bachelor's life, Chase. There's no one ever comes into this apartment, and that's how boring my
I don't
life
know,
is.
like,
So.
I'm freaked out because I don't know where Phoebe is.
He's
Like, I
immune
don't
to
know
those
shit about
jokes.
Yeah,
He would be so excited.
dude, I'm so paranoid. Like any noise is just like, what the?
that. Yeah, I
Who
am
are
too.
you?
I'm on edge 24/7.
He's like, wait, I don't have any friends. Who would this be?
All right, well, Alex Koseri, where can people find you if they want to?
Little website link somewhere yonder. My roster's getting pretty full. I primarily work with multi-sport athletes, people who are trying to introduce lifting into an existing sport or are managing both. So if you have some cool stuff going on and you think you need a very careful hand with programming, let me know. Other than that, if you would like to argue about programming, that is something I'm very passionate about. So I will meet you in the middle of the street. We can throw rocks at each other, whatever you want.
That's it. That's a good note
it.
to end. That's a good note to end on. Let's
I
throw
just
right.
want to
That's-
argue about programming with people until the end of days. That's it.
Yeah. Chase.
But that
Yeah, go
that
ahead.
would require people to understand what programming is and what it's.
You have to
the
understand
context
both
of it.
arguing and programming.
Dude, that's like
Those
zero
are two
population.
hard things to do.
That's almost population zero right there.
Yep. Chase, where are you at these days? Where can people find you?
Instagram, Chase Lindley.
Instagram, Chase Lindley. Alex Mitchell.
Yes. Sorry, my puppy is very cute. You can find me at Stronger Now Gym, either the physical location in Sandy Springs, Atlanta, Georgia, or you can find me online at strongernowgym.com, or on Instagram or Facebook. Yeah, I'm on there. I don't really do anything, but I am on there. And I also do online coaching through Barbell Logic. I highly recommend that if you're in sort of my scope of practice, that reach out to me if you're looking for a coach. I coach primarily people who have something funky going on that makes it tricky to figure out what's going on from the programming side, that they can't really do straight LP or something like that. So if you're undergoing some kind of therapy for cancer treatment, or if you're undergoing treatment for cystic fibrosis, Parkinson's, anything like that, rheumatoid arthritis, that's generally the populations I work with. Or if you're just old, and 49 is not old, just so everyone knows.
I'm
or
so
if you're
close.
just old.
I'm so close.
If you're just old. Yeah, if you have a Benjamin Button situation going on, that's also,
Yeah.
a good one. Chase, you do online coaching too, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's...
How many more people do
Through
you
the-
want for this? And they can fight and compete for your love and attention.
I mean, I don't really have a cap or anything like that. Just whoever wants to do it, just, kind of DM me on Instagram or just email me. I'll probably we'll go ahead and say my email. Just C Lindley, all lowercase, at startingstrengthgyms.com. I'm sure Nick will maybe put that up somewhere or something like that.
Sure. Yep, I'll chuck on the comments. All right, thanks,
Nick,
guys.
do you do online coaching? for app
Sure.
development?
Yeah, no, that's exactly where I want to go with my life. All right, thanks a lot, everyone. Thanks for your time. Thanks for all the questions and videos, and we will be back next week.
See you guys.
Peace, guys.
All right.